Open with an undeniably intriguing tease about how you think this movie has the most important message for men these days. There you go, there's the opening, being meta about my notes for the movie Obsession.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you!
A guy in his early 20s makes a wish that forces his longtime crush to fall in love with him, but his dream girl soon turns into a nightmare. This is a concept that I could see having been done in the early 2000s for a Disney Channel movie. It is a hard R rating though, and I wouldn't say it's a gritty movie, because it's not. It's not realistic based. It's more like a Grimm's fairy tale. This is what's interesting these days. We're seeing movies like The Substance and Weapons, which this movie has a tonality that's similar to. It's like a modern day Grimm's fairy tale. Substance involves the lesson of vanity being a downfall. With Weapons, it involves a grandma/witch that lures a bunch of children into her house. They're making Grimm's fairy tales, and this is no exception. Obsession, it is a morality tale that is relevant to today. How do I mean? It is a movie that showcases to not be a pussy, basically, because that's what Baron is. He's a pussy who doesn't have the balls to ask the woman that he has a crush on to go out on a date, or just simply admit that he likes her. And look, we all go through that, but this guy's in his mid-20s. It gets to a point where you do have to get out of your shell. Look, I've gone through that shit in that stage of my life where I wasn't entirely upfront with women that I encountered out of fear, not because I was trying to play anything malicious towards them. It was in my early 20s, or even especially in high school, obviously we all go through that. It's about getting to know yourself and being more comfortable with yourself, and then seeing if that person is comfortable with you, but it's backwards. You want to see if they're comfortable with you. You need to be comfortable with yourself first before you try to be around people that are going to be comfortable with you, because it's a cyclical cycle of perceptions that go out of whack because you're not comfortable with yourself. Therefore, the other person's not going to be comfortable with you. And that is essentially what you see in the lead up to his wish. The movie opens with him doing this monologue about him professing his love. It's a monologue that you would see at the end of a romantic comedy. That's a detail that I haven't heard people say, but this horror movie starts with that speech and goes on from there. We'll do the broad strokes really with this movie. The reason I'm making this impromptu review about Obsession is, well, one, it has stuck with me. I've thought about the movie a few times, and obviously it's buzzing online with people. It's really connecting. The reason I think it resonates with people today is because of the dating culture. This movie touches upon the lack of initiation when it comes to men being upfront with women about how they feel and just taking the leap of asking somebody out. There is an undeveloped skill set that a lot of young men are not practicing with. Young men initiating asking women out. And this movie, Obsession, is an indictment on that, essentially. It is a morality tale of what happens when you don't speak your mind for something that you need to, and you lose the girl. In this case, he definitely loses the girl, even though he makes a wish that gets her to fall in love with him, but it's not real. So ultimately, he turns himself into the undercover antagonist because he's allowing this to happen, actually go on a few times. At one point, Nikki, the real Nikki, when the possessor Nikki is sleeping, we'll get into this about whether or not she's possessed, but when she's sleeping and she says under her breath, "Don't wake her, kill me," Nikki asks him, and Baron just ignores her. He makes it all about himself and says, "Well, could you ever be in a relationship with me?" And she kind of brushes it off of just, "I never was, so how could I know?" Since we're on this scene, it's an indicator that Nikki is possessed. I thought about it over the past couple days. of whether or not she would be. It's possible that the wish just fractured her personality. It's as if the wish caused dissociative identity disorder, and now she has two personalities battling out for her body, which the movie does very well in terms of the surprise moments where the real Nikki comes back for a few seconds, realizing that she's in a situation she's never been in, she didn't choose to be in. Maybe she was, because the first time that happens is when they're making out the first night. She freaks out and falls off the bed, terrified, and then snaps back, and it's possessor Nikki. There are plenty of indicators that Nikki is possessed. The moment when Baron makes the call to the number that's on the box, he calls and gets a hold of a deadpan voice. I think it was the director. And while he's on that phone call, he hears the screaming voice of real Nikki in the background. Do you want to hear her? Do you want to talk to her? And then you hear the yelling, which is creepy. This movie is very effective when it comes to chilling moments. There are a few moments that really did that. It made me get chills. So there's a reason why this movie, just with its tonality and subtleties, it's not, well, it goes over the top to some degrees. Those moments that are chilling, that gave me chills, they're not over the top, really. They're about the actress, I can't remember her name. Is it Inde? Actress Inde Navarrette, if I'm saying that correctly. She gives a fantastic performance. Her movements that she does when she's in the possessed mode are very effective. In combination with probably some editing tricks, etc., and maybe some speeding up of the footage. Only seeing the movie once, I don't have a full grasp on some of the effects that they did. There are inconsistencies in terms of the rules when it comes to Nikki being possessed and what she does when Baron is not there. There's the memorable moment where he leaves to go to work and she's standing there, frozen, urinates herself, and has a tilted head and smiling, and she's frozen for the entire day until he gets back. The problem with that is, one, that looks like she's a robot, and two, in other instances when he's gone, she's doing other things. She's cooking the dead parts of his cat that died. She's duct taping the front door. I understand why they did that, but that's inconsistent. I think you could have done without that moment where she's frozen throughout the entire day when he's gone. Some people are hailing this as a 10 out of 10, and I don't think that's the case. It could end up being one of the best movies of the year, but like I've said before, movies are not as great as they used to be. It's a fact that we used to get higher quality movies from the 90s and early 2000s, and it's just not happening as often through various reasons. The standards with streaming and how they want people to, and filmmakers to make movies, where they want the filmmakers to overly explain multiple times the plots of the movie. It's harder for filmmakers to get funding these days as well for unproven properties. This movie is an original film, and that's really cool. I'm proud of you, audience, for making this movie successful, because it's going to mean that more original films are going to get made, because investors are going to look at this and they're going to say, well, original scripts and spec scripts, they're not that much of a risk anymore, because look at this movie and this movie that grossed $50 to $100 million on a $10 million budget. When that happens more often, we're going to see even bigger movies. People are going to be willing to take more risks. We're seeing these movies get made and become successful, and it reminds me a lot of, the 90s, when you had Quentin Tarantino, Kevin Smith, Robert Rodriguez, all these other filmmakers that became successful from original filmmaking, their own stories that were based off of anything. Yeah, inspired by other films that they love, but every filmmaker is going to be inspired by something. And so I really like that this movie is successful. Yeah, and it's cool that Curry Barker got this movie made. He has talent, obviously. He needs to stop wearing Prada purses and wearing sunglasses that make it look like he's cosplaying as Elton John. You look at the way he dressed before, he's wearing hoodies, he's dressing like a normal dude, a gamer, a nerd, whatever. And now because he got his big paycheck cleared and it's in his account, he's going and buying things that are the only thing that Prada purse, that man purse, is gonna do is signal gold digging whores to go to him. That's all that shit does. It's another lesson that he's gonna learn when it comes to women. He has a lesson right here that he exhibits in his story when it comes to being courageous and walking up to the girl, asking her out, telling her how you feel, but he's going to have to learn not to wear man purses for one thing. When it comes to Nikki, there's a problem with Nikki before she gets possessed or the wish comes to fruition, is that she is an annoying tease. This is also something that women need to look at as well when it comes to Nikki. These kinds of women that are very flirtatious, that have no romantic intentions whatsoever. And she even says at one point, "Baron, I can tell you anything." You don't fucking say that. You don't say that to just anyone. Okay, especially when it's in a situation of you're telling that to a guy that is single. Yeah, that's a lesson for women that they need to know as well. You don't just say these kinds of things. You don't fucking touch them when they make you laugh, all this stuff. Go watch When Harry Met Sally, if women and men can be friends and all that stuff. This conversation's been going on for a long time. But this movie in particular, in modern day women are, they've crossed boundaries when it comes to how they behave around men. Not even talking about how they dress, although that is something, but more so their behaviors that they think is innocent, but it's really not. It is actually destructive to the psychology of men. That's not to say that men are not doing their own behaviors that are destructive towards women. They're just doing a different kind. So this movie actually shows both in those certain aspects. Obviously, with Baron, he's in a normal state of mind. With Nikki, it's different because she's essentially possessed. This is a movie that I think is going to resonate with a lot of young men, funnily enough. I think it's resonating with both men and women because you see the different behaviors and dynamics between men and women in a heightened, fantastical situation of a wish coming true and then horrible things happen. Something I didn't like about, I don't like some of the scenes between Baron's best friend and Ian, where they're shouting over each other, like, "Oh man, I can't believe you did that. Nah, just shut up, man. I can't. Oh no." That part's annoying, where they're actually talking over each other, exclaiming shit. They're overplaying it, essentially. They're overplaying, "Oh man, I can't believe you did that. Why did you do that?" It's too much. Yeah, I think I'll keep this spoiler free. Go and see the movie, enjoy it yourself, because it is a recommend. It is a morality tale of what happens when men don't have courage to ask the girl out. So the lesson here and the encouragement that I give to you is, if anyone is watching this that has a crush on somebody, they're young enough or maybe they're older, go and do it. Risk it. Even if you think she's going to say no, and even if she does say no, that she's not interested in you or thinks of you as a friend, it's quite possible that might happen. But either way, you come out of it with a win because you showed that you had the balls to do it. No matter what she says, you had the balls to do it, and you walked away with courage and a victory. You will walk away from a no a better person, a stronger person, a stronger man. Don't be like Baron. Don't be a pussy. Baron's a coward for not asking Nikki out. And it's probably likely that, she didn't like him. Why do I think that Nikki didn't like Baron before she got possessed? Because she would have helped him along a little bit, and there were too many instances of her pushing him away. Ian initially says when Baron is going to drive her back to her place, "Go get your girl home," and she says, "Ew, don't say that." Look, there's some exceptions, but generally speaking, a woman would not do that if she likes a guy. There are too many instances in which she pushes that notion away where Baron and she could be a couple. So either way, the movie works You can decide whether that is what you think. I'm giving you evidence of what I think. This is the reason why I wanted to talk about this movie, is to recommend it, because it is so far one of the best movies of the year. We'll see. There are a lot of horror movies this year coming out, aren't there? They used to not be the case. I mean, throughout the entire year, every month now, for the past few years, we're getting horror movies. When obviously October is supposed to be the time when we get inundated with scary movies. But no, this is the new trend of the culture, is we're getting horror movies every month now. Well, they're cheaper to make, etc., etc. More are becoming successful, and that's fine. We need more variety when it comes to genres, though. We need to uplift other films, obviously, and movies like this will ultimately be a bounce board for other genres being made in original filmmaking. All right, that's Obsession.